OJ Limited produces a product whose standard costing is as follows. Selling price 100 kwacha, direct material 9 kg at 7 kwacha per kg. So for this good, when they're producing one unit, they need 9 kg of that material, right? And that material costs 7 kwacha per kg. So 9 times 7, 63 kwacha. Direct labor, it takes zero point 0.2 hours in terms of direct labor to produce this good. The labor rate is 10 kwacha per hour. 10 times zero point 0.2 is 2 kwacha per unit. Variable overheads, 3 hours per unit at a rate of 5 kwacha per hour. Total variable overheads is 15 kwacha per unit. So all these costs here are for each unit. Total budgeted fixed production overheads of the period for the period are 19,800, and total budgeted production sales volume was 4,500 units. So this is what we are budgeting. In terms of fixed overheads, we're expecting them to cost us 19,800, and we're also expecting to produce and sell 4,500 units. During the period the following transactions occur: 9,000 units were produced and sold at 150 kwacha per unit. 12,000 of kg of materials was used at a cost of 47,000. Right. The 9,000 units took 1,375 hours to produce them. Right. But the actual labor hours paid for were 1,600, and the total labor cost was 43,800. Variable production overheads amounted to 22,800, and fixed production overheads amounted to 19,700. So we need to compute the following. All right. We can start with the first one: material price variance. Okay. So, colleagues, what do you remember from material price variance or material cost variance? What are we analyzing here? Anybody to give it a try? Oh, and one more important point. All right, just one important point. All right, so for this question here, wherever we're hearing any efficiency in any of the variances, what we're comparing is the budgeted labor hours that are needed to produce these goods versus the actual labor hours that were taken to produce the goods. That difference that you get, all right, when you hear the labor rate efficiency variance, we're going to use this difference and multiply it by the labor rate. The variable overhead efficiency variance, whatever this difference is, we multiply by the variable efficiency variance. And even the fixed overhead efficiency variance, this difference will be multiplied by that. So in these type of questions, where you hear where there's efficiency in the variance, it's either you're comparing machine hours that were budgeted goods or labor hours that have been budgeted to produce the goods, and the actual labor or machine hours that uh, that were done or that were used to produce the goods. So this will come once we look at the efficiency variances. But for now, we're on the material price variance. So I was asking, what is this material price variance about? What the material. So basically, this variance is we're comparing what the material should have costed us versus the actual amount of the material cost. All right. So when we're getting the material price variance, we're going to start and say the standard material cost per unit multiplied by the actual material used. So we come to our information here. The standard material cost per unit is 7 kwacha per kg. 12,000 kg was used in terms of material. All right. So since we used 12,000 kg and our material cost is 7 kwacha per kg, material should have costed that. So let's get our calculators. 7 times 14,000. 7 times 14,000. 98,000 kwacha. Right. So since we used 14,000 kg of material, right, it should have costed us, according to our budgeted price, which is 7 kwacha per kg, supposed to cost us 98,000 kwacha. All right. But we have to find out how much the material actually cost. 47,000. This was the actual cost of the materials of these 12,000 kg. This is the actual cost. All right. So this is 47,000. So you budgeted that is going to cost you 98,000, the material, but in actuality it costed you 47,000. So is this variance favorable or adverse? You budgeted that it's going to cost you 98,000 kwacha, right? but in actuality it costed you 47,000. So what is this variable adverse, colleagues? Don't know why we are taking long. Maybe I should be calling out by name. Mr. Joachim, is this adverse or favorable? Mr. Kuima? Yes, it's favorable. Why, Mr. Kuima? Yes, we paid less than what was budgeted for. Yes, we paid less, excuse me, than what was budgeted for. Next is the material usage variance. Colleagues, what does this tell us? What are we analyzing here? Yes. Right. First we tabulate according to our budget. All right. Standard usage per material. So we come to our information here. The standard usage per material, 9 kg. All right. How many units did we produce? We produced 9,000 units. All right. So to produce 9,000 units, so we're going to say 9 kg times 9,000. So to produce 9,000 units, how much kg of material did we budget for? So 9 times 9,000. According to our budget, we were supposed to use 81,000 kg of material. Okay. Because according to our budget, we used 9 kwacha for each unit. Now we produced 9,000 units. So we were supposed to use 81,000 kg of material. And when we find out our actual usage, all right, we just use 12,000 kg. In real life, it's not good for your variances to be big because it shows your forecasting wasn't precise or accurate. All right, because here this is a very big variance. In real life, you would get fired from the job. So what's our variance? 881 minus 12,000. So colleagues, is this favorable or adverse? We used less than we budgeted to use. And then the difference, we're going to multiply it with. Material price per unit. In this case, our material price per unit was how much? 7 kwacha per kg. So we're going to multiply our variance by 7 kwacha per kg. Yes, colleagues, was this is this adverse or favorable? In your house, you budgeted for the month to use 2 kg of medium meal, but after a month, you find out that you actually used 1 kg of medium meal. Is it adverse or favorable on your side? 81 minus 12. 60 69,000. Yes, now was it variable or adverse? Is it favorable or adverse? As you are thinking of your answers, can someone give me 79, 69 times 7,000? Ish, colleagues, or maybe we're not sure. Hmm. So 69 times 7, that's 483,000 kwacha. So the difference you just multiplied by the material cost per unit. 483. Next, or before we go further, any questions? You, you should multiply the difference by the material cost per unit. You this material price per unit, you multiply it with that difference all the time, all the time. Direct labor rate variance. Yes, colleagues, what is this one telling us? Standard labor rate per hour times actual hours paid, and then the actual labor cost. Yes, colleagues. So what are we comparing here? With this information which I've just typed out here. what labor should have costed us. This is what labor costed us. So the standard labor rate per hour, we come back to our information here. Standard labor rate per hour, 10 kwacha per hour. The actual hours that were paid for were 1,600. So I'm going to say, so standard labor rate per hour, that's 10 kwacha per hour. Actual, the labor hours paid for 1,600. So 10 times 1,600. Oh, 10 times 1,600, that's 16,000 kwacha, right? Then the actual labor cost was how much? 43. This is a 43,800. Under budgeting. Under budgeting. So according to our budget, we were supposed to pay 16,000, but in actuality, we paid 43,800. Colleagues, is this variable, favorable or adverse? Very adverse. 16,000 minus 43,800. So usually if you start with the budgeted, then the actual, one way to remember is if you get a positive value, it's favorable. If you get a negative value, it's adverse. In this case, this can be one way that can help you. Okay, next is the direct labor efficiency variance. The number of hours it should have taken us to produce this good versus the actual hours that were taken. All right. So we say standard labor hours per unit multiplied by number of units produced versus the actual hour. So according to our budget, all right, it takes zero point 0.2 hours to produce one good. All right. Now we produced 9,000 goods. All right. 9,000 goods. So we're going to say zero point 0.2 zero point 0.2, which is the labor hour per unit. multiplied by the 9,000 units that we produced. What is zero point 0.2 times 9,000? So every variance where we hear this word efficiency, we're going to it will be this that we're comparing. The number of hours it should have taken us to produce the units versus the actual hours. Then now the difference here in this case, the difference we're going to multiply it by the labor rate since it's the direct labor efficiency. So we multiply it by the labor rate. So the variable overhead efficiency, this difference we're going to multiply by the variable overhead per unit. Yes. So zero point 0.2 times 9,000, 1,800. Actual hours, 1,375. Is this favorable or adverse? According to your budget, you are supposed to take 1,900 hours to produce these 9,000 units. But in actuality, it took you 1,375 hours. So were you being efficient or not efficient? And the difference we multiply by the labor rate per hour, which is 10 kwacha. Colleagues, is this favorable advice? According to your budget, you are supposed to take 1,800 hours, but you you took the time you completed in less than that time. Remember, in the exam, as you are solving these questions, these are the questions you should be asking yourself as you are solving these. Yes, colleagues. Yes, colleagues. No one knows if it's favorable or adverse. This is not fair. This is favorable, yes. Hmm. So here 475. So 10 times 475, 4,750. Next, the variable overhead expenditure variance. The standard variable overhead per unit times the number of hours to produce unit, and this is the actual variable overhead cost. What is this one telling us? What is this one telling us? So, so the standard variable overhead per unit, as I'm getting the figures, okay, it's 5 kwacha per hour. Number of hours produced the units 1,375. 5 kwacha per hour. Yes, colleagues. Variable overhead expenditure. How much your variable overheads should have costed you versus how much they costed, how much they actually costed you. So 5 times 1,375. So after this class, the question which I posed, please try it because I've seen in this topic, this topic we need more practice. So 5 times 1,375, 6,000. Uh-huh. Yeah. According to our budget, this is what our variable overhead should have costed us. But in actuality, 20 they costed us 22,800. Favorable or adverse? Yes. We under budgeted. We budgeted that we'll pay 6,800, but we ended up paying more. So 6,875 minus 22,800. Fixed overhead expenditure variance. Standard. What we budgeted to pay for our fixed overheads versus what we actually paid. So in this information here, we expected to pay 19,800 kwacha in terms of fixed overheads. But in actuality, we paid 19,700. Almost close, huh? Almost close. Off by 100 kwacha. Budgeted to pay this. So here the variance is favorable. Next, fixed overhead. Now the rates are going to come in now for the volume and the efficiency variance. Like here, the fixed overhead efficiency variance. So let's say it with all the variances where there's efficiency, you're going to be comparing the standard labor hours it you needed to take to produce the units versus the actual labor hours. All right. So since we've already got this difference, all right, if you want, you can put this same information there. The only difference is instead of multiplying by the labor rate per hour, we're multiplying it by the overhead absorption rate. Colleagues, what does it mean to absorb overheads? So for studying purposes, I'll put it like this. But in the exam, since you've got the difference here, wherever you hear efficiency, this efficiency, you just need to multiply by the rate of that variance. All right. Yes, what do we mean when we say absorbing overheads? So to absorb means to include, right? Every time we hear overheads have been absorbed, it means they've been included. Where in the production costs, all right? So yeah, here the labor hours it should have taken us the actual labor hours. So 1,800 minus 375, you get 475. So colleagues, can we tabulate our overhead absorption rate? What information do we need for overhead absorption rate? Budgeted fixed overheads and the budgeted level of activity. So in this case, we budgeted to produce 4,500 units. So the budgeted level of output. So our overhead absorption rate would be 19,800 divided by 4,500. So we can just put it here. 19,800 divided by 4,500. Yes, what is our overhead absorption rate? 4.4 kwacha per unit. So it's a 4.4 times 475. Thousand. Then we got the fixed overhead volume variance. Actually, I should have put it after expenditure variance. Fixed overhead volume variance. Budgeted volume, what we expected to produce. This is the actual volume. And the difference will multiply it by the overhead absorption rate. So we budgeted to produce 4,500 units. But we produced 9,000 units. Favorable or adverse, you budgeted to produce 4,500, but in actuality, you produced 9,000. And the difference multiplied by the overhead absorption rate. So 45 minus 9,000, negative 45, multiplied by 4.4. sales variance, budgeted sales price multiplied by the number of units produced, our budgeted sales revenue basically versus the actual sales. This is actual selling price units produced. Our budgeted sales price was 100 kwacha per unit. We've produced 9,000 units. So our sales revenue is supposed to be 900,000. This is our budgeted sales revenue, right? But in actuality, we sold these goods for 150 kwacha. 150 times 9,000. 150 times 900 times 9,000. 1 million. In this case here, it's favorable because we've made more than we budgeted, right? We've made more than we budgeted. So 1,350,000 minus 900,000. 150,000. Finally, sales volume variance. Budgeted sales. Budgeted to sell and produce and sell 4,500 units. All right, but actually sold, actual sales volume. 9,000 units. Right? So the difference, we're going to multiply it by the standard profit per unit. So let's tabulate the standard profit per unit first here. Excuse me. 200 minus 63 minus 2 minus 15. Do you get? Oh, we also have to include the fixed overheads. Yeah. Fixed overhead per unit, which was 4.4. So 20 minus 4.4. It's the standard profit per unit, right? So here we actually sold more units than we budgeted to sell. Budgeted to sell 4,500 units, but we've actually sold twice the amount, 9,000 units. Let's say favorable because we sold more units budgeted for. Right. So for these sales variances, you'll see the rules flip, right? If your actual is greater, it's good. Mhm. Yes. Or this 4.4, remember, we budgeted our overheads to be 19,800. Then we also budgeted to produce 4,500 units. So the overhead absorption rate, which is the overhead cost per unit, you divide 19,800 divided by 4.5. That's how we got 4.4. So here it's variance is 4.5 multiplied by the standard profit, which was what? 15.6. Mm-hmm. 4.5 times 15.6. So 90,000